It is exactly 5 minutes after the hour, 6 o'clock, and today it's Thursday, the 6th of October 2016. Coming to you live from GCI's radio station. My name is Untitled Chapter, and we are today going to talk about the topic that we previously discussed, which is small claims court in South Africa. Small claims court in South Africa. My guest here in our studios is one of the legal practitioners, Small Claims Court Commissioner Mandla Motha. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good evening
may you
to your
please,
listeners.
may you please greet our listeners, because we are
Yes.
here because of them. You know, they are the most important.
Yes, good evening
people.
to the listeners.
Yes. Good evening to you once more, our listeners all over the country. Some of you might be coming from work. Some of you might be at home preparing your meals for this evening, and some of you might be going to work. As I said to you, we will be talking about this topic, small claims courts in South Africa. Before I go far, I must outline to you that my name is Untitled Chapter, and I'm standing in here for Karabolens, who's not in here today. And on top of that, we are expecting a guest who is an ordinary citizen who's a beneficiary of this project, especially in relation to small claims court. You know, she listened to one of the previous shows that we had, and then she was held by one of our courts, and we salute our courts and the commissioners and all of the staff there for doing such a great work. Indeed, the government is hard at work. Without going anywhere far, I must say to you, our dear listener, if you wish to contact us later on during the show, may you please use the landline, or you can also use your cell phone number. Then we will come back to you. Our producers will definitely call you so that they can, be rather give you a chance to be on air. The number is 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446, and you can also communicate with us via Twitter, and for that you can use a hashtag LetsTalkJustice at DOJCD_ZA, DOJCD_ZA. That's our Twitter contacts. And on Facebook, we can also find us in Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. It is now 7 minutes after the hour 6, and without any waste of time, Mr. Motha, I would like you to, briefly tell us what are small claims court.
Thanks a lot. Good evening once more to the listeners. Small Claims Court is a court that was established in terms of Small Claims Court Act of 1984. This is a court which looks at minor civil claims as they are referred to. However, they might not be minor, because what is minor to you might not be minor to me. But for all intents and purposes, it's a court that deals with matters that are 15,000 rands and below. And it's a speedy, affordable, and a simple mechanism to bring a defendant to court so that you can be able to get help.
Okay. Who may institute a claim in this small claims court?
We have the act which guides us as to who is allowed to appear before court. That is in terms of Section 7. It's only a natural person who can bring an action in the small claims court, meaning a juristic person, i.e. companies, closed corporations or associations, cannot institute actions at the small claims court, but they can be cited as defendants. However, one must hasten to add that you cannot bring the government to the small claims court.
Okay.
Maybe I can also add, just to set the scene of how the small claims court functions. You basically have a commissioner, and a commissioner is appointed by the minister or a person who has been delegated the power to appoint a commissioner by the minister, and this is done in terms of Section 9 of the Small Claims Court Act. And these commissioners are selected amongst a list of professionals. One, you could have advocates acting as small claims court commissioners. Two, you could have attorneys acting as small claims court commissioners. 3, you could have magistrates acting as small claims commissioners. 4, you could even have academics. In fact, the list tries to accommodate a broader spectrum as possible, because it gives the minister the power to appoint a person that the minister thinks is suitable for the appointment, but it should be someone with legal background, so to try and assist as a commissioner in the small claims court. Then you also have other officials in the small claims court arena, besides the commissioner who sits and listens to the matters. You have the interpreters, who are language experts. They assist people in expressing themselves if they want to speak in any different language that others are not familiar with. Then you also have court orderlies, obviously to keep law and order in small claims court, because at times it can be rowdy, although the commissioners are empowered in terms of section 4 subsection 3 and also in terms of section 48 to keep law and order in their courts. Because as you can imagine, some people win, others lose. Sometimes I like to call it others, sometimes it's a draw. But sometimes a person might feel aggrieved that he's lost unfairly, and you could have undesired results. So you have court orderlies present in court, and then you also have litigants. Litigants, you'll have a plaintiff, who's the person who would have started the proceedings, and you have the defendant, who would be the person who's coming to defend the proceedings. And then you'll also have witnesses who will be substantiating whatever evidence that will be presented by either the plaintiff or the defendant. And finally, you'll have the gallery, because the court will obviously be full of people who want to hear what's happening.
Okay. So you spoke about a draw. Do you mind telling us what happens if it's a draw? Do you go for
this?
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I'm just using soccer language in view of the fact that most of our people love soccer.
Yes.
It happens at times that people come to the small claims court without evidence, because you must understand, this is a court of law.
Yes.
What's important, it's the evidence that you present before the commissioners. It is an inquisitorial process.
Yes.
It means the commissioner descends into the arena and try and extract the reality and the truth from the litigants. But however, sometimes try as you might, it becomes impossible to extract the truth, and you find that the evidence that you're confronted with is of equal magnitude and strength, and it becomes almost impossible for a commissioner to categorically and without any shadow of doubt arrive at a decision, because remember, the commissioner works on balance of probabilities. That's the proof that the commissioner must look at. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt like you find in criminal courts. I know I might be a bit technical, but I'm trying to explain this draw concept. Yeah. So you could find that, just to give you an example, A brings B to court. A says, I borrowed B 10 rands. And B says, you never borrowed me 10 rands, and it's not true. And B says, I have a contract where you signed, in terms of which you were taking the 10 rands. And he comes to court, he's misplaced the contract. You postpone the case, he looks for the contract, he can't find it. Now, you can't tell whether he's telling the truth or B is not telling the truth. Under those circumstances, you reach a situation which is similar to a draw. Then you'll have what is in law is called absolution from the instance. Then the matter is dismissed. It's not dismissed, it's removed on the basis of absolution from the instance, meaning that the commissioner could not arrive at a decision. But that is actually a very good thing, because it gives the plaintiff an opportunity to go and look for that particular document. If it's subsequently found, the plaintiff can always come back to court and resuscitate the matter.
Okay. And then if he doesn't find or she doesn't find the evidence, what other steps can she or he take?
Then you'd have a problem if you don't have evidence in court. Because in court, we're dealing with evidence. If you don't have evidence, you would not be able to prove your case.
Okay. I see we already have callers who are calling who certainly have questions in relations to today's topic. If you also want to call, you can use this number 0800 142 446. We are going to Free State, where we are going to talk to Motha. Good evening to you, sir.
Dumela ntate le kae?
Re teng mongwe wa melona le kae?
Dumela ntate.
Re teng ke
Morena.
Motha ka mona ka Matwabeng Freestata ntate.
O utlwagala sentle mongwe.
Ke ne ke botsa ke la bona gona haholo bo majale fa lapeng gona di gorula bana ba o qetela di last bona ka malapeng. Ona le taba ya gore mohlomo ha o le ngwana wa o fela lapeng ke taba ya hao. So ye monga moholo malome fela ba tlo bolela hore le a tswa mona ke heso ke haka mo ha se ga o tsela na o re leka ne ke botsa ntate ka mo re na tabetse ke ya gona ho ntelwa ha ke di kamane ho small claim court na
ke go tlwile mongwe re o tla o motlile sentle.
Yeah, let me quickly try and answer that question.
Okay.
In fact, the jurisdiction of the Small Claims Court is governed by the Act, the Small Claims Court Act of 1984. Now there okay. Now there are matters which do not get covered by the Small Claims Court. Give you an example to go back to what is just spoken about. If you're dealing with an issue of a will or interstate succession, the Small Claims Court cannot listen to matters that involve wills. Small Claims Court, for instance, cannot, this is governed by Section 16 of the Small Claims Court. It cannot listen to matters which are above the amount of 15,000 rands. Already by listening to him, the amount that's involved would automatically be above 15,000 rands because he's talking about a home. Now, also, I mentioned earlier on that you cannot sue the state. So let's quickly tabulate them. One, your matter that you bring before the Small Claims Court must not be above 15,000 rands. Two, you cannot sue the state, the municipality, or the local government. Three, you cannot bring an action to sue on the validity of a will. Four, you cannot bring an action for the dissolution of marriage, like divorce. All right. You cannot have your action based on cession or transfer of rights. You know, some of these things are a bit technical, but to explain a cession, you could have a lease agreement that is signed by a lessor and a lessee, and the lessee could cede his rights to a sub-lessee. And if that happens, you can't bring that action to the Small Claims Court. Now, you cannot, for instance, sue for defamation of character. So there's a number of things that can be done at the Small Claims Court. But the beautiful thing is we've got a clerk at the Small Claims Court who are trained, and they listen to what you want to bring to the Small Claims Court, and they will assist you in telling you what matters fall within the jurisdiction of the Small Claims Court or not. Okay,
so before we go to Eric from King Williamstown, having said that, what are some of the main common cases that are here at the Small Claims Courts?
The most common cases that you find at the Small Claims Court are actions for payment of money lent. People give others money and they demand their money back. You find a lot of those. You also find sometimes a lot of actions arising from lease, people renting property and coming back and saying, this person has not paid my rent, I want my rent. You find a variety, but to a large extent, you find people looking for their monies that they gave to their friends.
Okay. Let's go to Eric from King Williamstown. Good evening to you, Eric. Molo Mhlegazi.
Molo ntata.
Ngizakubuza ngesixhosa.
Kuba tata siyeva nangesixhosa.
Phambili ufuna usabele into yoba ingaba umntu xa unodadewenu waze waboleka mhlawumbi omnye imali without mhlawumbi akukho mntu onobungqina bale nto, ingaba umntu uyakwazi na ke ngoku uyazenzisa nokuze i-evidence yakhona because aba bantu babolekene imali kungekho mntu engane-10,000 and le mali ibolekwa
tata kuyenzakala ukuba noma ubungqina bungekho manifika enkantolo kube nemibuzo enibuzwa yona ezobonisa ukuba imali ibolekiwe noma cha. So to give you an example, there could be questions around how the money was handed over. Kungenzeka ukuba mawumnikeza imali umnikeze ngama 10 rands umze ngama 20 rands, konke lokho kuyafuneka ucommissioner uqeqeshiwe ukuba akumamelisise kahle ukuba lo thethayo uthetha inyani noma kunobuxoki phakathi. Makukhona ubuxoki obu obvious buzophumela phandle baba, sizokubona. Uyeva tata? So noma unganabo ubungqina obugcweleyo ungayithatha imetha yakho yise small claims court.
Ngaba msebenzi mhlawumbe sensisho ukuthi lo muntu wenza lento ukwenze lento kudadewethu umuntu ofundileyo mhlawumbe semandithi umuntu onguthisara then wayenza lento ke ngokuyenza enalanto ethi yenze sisobabili akukho mntu nobungqina balomqini udasho natha eyithethe udadewethu emaneyireyisa le mali apha kuye uthi kamnanda unakuzonibamba ngoba sisobabili akukho mntu nabungqina.
Uyabona into emnandi ke leyo nge-small claims court data ukuba wena uziyela ngokwakho uyothetha phaya. In terms of section 7 subsection 2, no one is allowed to bring a legal representative to the small claims court. Okuthetha ukuba awulethi igqwetha lizokuthethela. So ungabe unemali, ungabe ufundile, ungabe udokotela, uyigqwetha, utishera, uzaza apha small claims court uzithethele wena ngokwakho. So nawe sisi wakhe mayithetha inyani, i-commission izokwazi ukubona lokho ukuba hayi lo mama uthetha inyani and lo tata uyaxoka. Uyeva tata?
Umangala kuphi?
Andiva tata?
Umangala kuphi bo?
Imala?
Umangala phi?
Oh, umangala phi? There are more than 337 small claims court that the minister has established throughout the country. Before the show is up, we'll try and get your small claims court that is nearest to you. Ugundawo phi tata?
Lapha
Queen Williamstown. Sizawujonga ngokuba khona na indawo in a small claims court, but I'm sure ikhona a small claim.
Okay.
Eduze ne Williamstown. Ngiyabonga tata.
Okay.
Enkosi tata.
And it's exactly 23 minutes after the hour 6 o'clock. That was Motha Tupa from Eric from King Williamstown. Hopefully he got helped. Now, Mr. Motha, I need to understand, or to make it clear to every listeners, does one need a legal representation to go to the small claims court?
No, you don't need a legal representative to represent you at the small claims court. In fact, it is prohibited by the Act. You cannot be represented at the small claims court. That is in terms of section 7, subsection 2. But you can consult your legal representative prior to going to the small claims court. Nothing stops you from doing that. You can also have your legal representative filling in the forms, but you might just be charged for nothing because those forms can be completed by a clerk of the court for free. So it's really not necessary to go to a lawyer. That was the whole purpose of the small claims court, to bring justice to people. People like the previous call, the callers just made a call to say, even though you don't have money, you're not educated, but you can still, without taking the law into your own hands, go and be assisted in the small claims court.
Okay. Let's accommodate Defender from Kwanyamazane. Defender? How are you, sir?
Right njani baba?
Right mina baba. Khuluma sizwe mfowethu.
Ngifona from Kanyamazane Community Radio eMpumalanga.
Yeah, baba.
The question was you registered in Supreme Court. Then bafika ngokumangalele.
Defender. Do you mind calling?
Oh, you're able to. I can hear that.
Okay, my guest here is able to hear you, so may you please proceed?
No, I'm saying with register claim, small claim court.
Yeah.
Then you go figure your date with the now.
Yeah.
The person is not turning up. And then what happened next? Because of I'm talking from experience. That is what happened. Because of at the end of the day, it was like water under the bridge.
All right. Uyabona le inkinga esihlangana nayo kakhulu as commissioners ukuthi abantu ngesinye isikhathi abafollow imigomo yase small claims court. Okay? Ngifuna uyimamele kahle baba. Kufanele userve a letter of demand and you must give umuntu omsuwayo 14 days. Yeah, mama, let's siqhubeka ngithi baba. Bese uyabuyela futhi small claims court mayingakubhadalanga bakupreparela ama-summons ama-summonisi uyezwa ngithi baba. Now mawumnikeza ama-summonisi ilapho abantu bayithola wrong le ndaba le. Kufanele ukuthi ngelanga umnika ngalo ama-summonisi nangelanga eniza ngalo ecourt 10 days must pass. Uyayizwa lento engisho baba?
Yeah.
Now people tend to give people short notice. Now, if you give a person short notice, it becomes impossible for the commissioner to give what is called a default judgment. Okay. Now, it means even if he doesn't come to court, but if you are able to show to the court that you have served the summons on the defendant, you'll still get your order. Uzoyithola order yako okuzobizwa ngokuthi yi-default judgment. Uyayizwa lento baba? Kodwa ukuthola i-default judgment kunento ezibalulekile kufanele uzilandele. 1, fanele imigomo yase small claims court ubuhambisane kahle nayo. 2, iclaim yakho kufanele kuba iqaqambisa ikhanda iyezwakala. Uyangizwa ngithi baba? Akusho ukuthi ngoba manje umuntu akekho ecourt sesizovele sikwinise icala. Still kuzofanele ukuthi uprove icala lakho ukuthi lo muntu uyakolota o lo muntu kufanele akubhadale. Uyayizwa into engishoyo? Kodwa ke I don't know ukuthi umise kuyiphi ileg because it could be maybe awuyenzanga kahle in terms of imigomo yase small claims court, but it doesn't stop you from getting your default judgment if the person doesn't come to court. You understand about?
Yeah, you know what? One of the challenges that you must be aware of would be everything that you explain, they don't even explain to you.
I think that's just a question of training. With time, the small claims court will get even better and stronger. But at least now you know that is why the government has seen it fit to bring this type of notification to people so that you should be alive and aware of your rights. You understand? Now you can go back to the small claims court empowered and say, this is how it should be done. Then the commissioner will listen to you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Defender from Kanyamazane. Now we are going to Mzokana from Greytown. Good evening to you, Mzokana.
Yeah, we're putting that.
Siyaphila baba nonjani?
Siyaphila. Ngicela ukubuza lapho.
Buza mfethu.
Ey'ntweni kakhulukazi lezi ethinta umthetho mhlambe enjengencwadi nama-episode lawo mhlambe kwama-CD okufundisa ngomthetho. Mhlambe kutholakala kanjani kethu nendawo ngoba isikhathi esiningi sizwe ezinye izinto kushiwo khona umthetho oshayiwe kodwa uthola ukuthi izinto ezibhalwe phansi ezinye zazo azitholakali kalula kwabanye abantu. Umthetho osebenzela umthetho waziwa ilaba bathi bafundela ngcono kwabanye hayi abawazi kahle.
All right. kodwa ke mangabe ungaya e-court yakho eseduze nawe so angithi okwanamhlanje sikhuluma nge-small claims court now mongaya e-court eseduze nawe ene-small claims court uzofumanisa ukuba lento ithethayo akusilona iqiniso ngoba nge-small claims court umthetho bawuletha eduze nawe ukuthi wena ucubungule ulwise amacala wakho wena ngokwakho siqi sakho
esengibuzele ekuthenini mhlambe mina muntu mengifisa ukwazi mayelana nomthetho mhlambe ngingedwa nje ngizoyitholela incwadi or i-CD engizoyilalela nje ngithi mhlambe okunye noma ngathi akangisekeli kodwa ngithi ngiqambe mhlambe singivelela mhlambe ngelinye ilanga kodwa ngibe sengifuna ukwazi kancane ngakho
yeah no
utholakala kanjani mhlambe lezothi efundisa abantu kanjani.
Okay, Mzokhona, this show is one of the shows that are made for such purposes. You know, we bring these shows to you so that we can educate you as much as we can. So I would advise you to listen to all of these shows, which comes to you each and every Thursday between 6 and 7 p.m. So I think that's one of the most working solutions for now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Ngiyabonga mfowethu angithi. That was Mzokhona from Great Town, who basically wanted to know what more can be done to make sure that the information in relation to access to justice, it reach all people in South Africa. And I've just said to him, this is one of the shows that are made for such purposes. Now it's 32 minutes after the hour 6 o'clock. And Mr. Motha, you as a commissioner, what are some of the challenges that you come across, you know, as a commissioner?
As I've already mentioned, the challenges are numerous and sometimes obviously difficult to enumerate, but one of the main challenges is lack of evidence.
Yes.
Our people do not keep documents in all the transactions they get themselves involved in. Give you an example. A person will purchase a car from a friend or from a relative and will part with 10,000 rands without an iota of a piece of evidence.
Yeah.
Now that becomes a problem when they come to court and they are disputing receipt of the 10,000 rands. Now it becomes very difficult for a commissioner to say, how do you part with 10,000 rands without any form of evidence that you paid 10,000 rands? So our people need to be educated that when you enter into transactions,
yes,
it's imperative that there should be documents substantiating, showing, and indicating your intention of whatever you're entering into.
Yes.
So that's one main problem that we encounter. And obviously also compliance with the act, because you must understand we cannot ambush people. You know, some people give people short notice. As a result, they don't get default judgment, like the previous caller was talking about default judgment. So it becomes problematic to give a person default judgment when the person has not followed the proper rules.
Yes.
So yes, those are some of the problems.
Okay. So would it be wrong, say person A and person B are about to reach an agreement, you know, in relation to buying something? Would it be wrong if person A can record person B or record the whole conversation, you know, just to use that as evidence? Would that evidence be accepted by the small claims courts?
The commissioners have been given a huge, basically, latitude. You know, so that type of evidence, even though it needs to be authenticated, but that type of evidence would be persuasive.
Yes.
There is a probative value that is attached to the evidence that is presented to court in that form. Because sometimes the other person could say you've tampered with the recording, but it's better than no evidence at all.
Yes.
If you can hear both the parties conversing and talking about the contract, it becomes very easy to arrive at a decision that favors one or the other.
Yes.
Now, if a person doesn't have any form of evidence, that becomes very difficult. Another example, we've got cell phones,
Yes.
Conversations. You can take pictures of the events. There's lots of evidence, because the evidence you need, sometimes it's not only documentary evidence. You could also need witnesses.
Yes.
When you exchange this money, there could be people present, and you could call them as your witnesses to testify.
Okay.
So evidence is important, because when all is said and done, small claims court is still a court of law. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Motha. We are now on the line, have Thelma Moloko. Remember earlier I told you that there is one of the small claims court beneficiary who's, ready to tell us about her experiences and how well was she held by the small claims court. Good evening to you, Thelma.
Good evening to you.
How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm fine. I'm very fine.
Awesome. First of all, Thelma, do you mind giving us the whole process as to what happened, after listening to one of our great shows here?
Yes, I bought a house that was sold at an auction. I didn't buy it directly at the auction. I bought it from somebody that bought it from the auction.
Yes.
And the owner was deceased. So when I was to move in, I found a girlfriend staying there, and up to now she didn't want to move. So I went to small claims for help, and I was treated so well. I went for the first time, and I got the letter of demand that I had to take to Protea Glen police station. I did that, and then the police came with me. We took the letter of demand to the lady that's in the house.
Okay.
And the second time, she took to court. And now I've got papers that I got to take to the sheriff. They helped me a lot. And the people working there's somebody, I don't know his name, they call him a pastor or something.
Yes.
He treats you so well, he makes you feel better when you're there. I wouldn't have gotten that help because I didn't have money, I'm unemployed. But there's justice.
Okay.
There's justice in South Africa. The rumor that says there's no justice, I got justice.
Okay.
In my hands, I've got papers that must go to the sheriff. He's gonna sell all her stuff to give me the rent money, because she's not even paying the rent and all that. So I took the letter the other day to tell her what's going to happen, asking her to move or to wait. So I haven't got a response yet, but at least the sheriff will be with me.
Yes. Thelma, how did this problem affect you and your family before you got help?
A great deal. It affected me a great deal because I'm paying for storage every month.
Yes.
And I don't know where, and then I had to go and sleep somewhere with my children. It affected me a great deal.
Yeah. So, Thelma, there are your fellow citizens who are, some they are about to lose hope in the, the judiciary of the country. What can you advise them? What are your words of encouragement to them?
To who? To the people that have the same problem as us?
Yes, but their problems at the moment are not solved.
Yeah. I would encourage them to go to the law, get the law, justice. They must go to small claims. If they don't have money, they'll help them.
Okay.
Because I'm going to be benefiting from the small claims, because they asked that she must pay me 14,400. And if she doesn't pay it, by now they're going to be selling all her stuff to get something, give me something at least. I mustn't just be empty-handed.
Okay, Thelma. Mr. Motha, is there anything that you want to say to Thelma?
No, I'm just pleased to hear a good story.
Yes.
And also happy that our hard work is being recognized out there. Because you must understand the commission.
I'm going to tell everyone that I'm me.
Yeah, and you must understand the commissioners work for free, basically. So it's a free service that commissioners give to the public. And we highly appreciate your thankful nature. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I'll shout it out. I'm so grateful.
Okay, so we are grateful, Thelma, that at least what we are doing, it changes people's lives. Thank you very much and enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Advocate, this is indeed great news, to see the government being hard at work and then beneficiaries coming back to say, we've got help by the government and we are indeed grateful for that.
No, indeed. We do make a difference.
Yes.
And I think the government does play a huge role because a lot of people do not have money to afford lawyers.
Yes.
It's quite, the litigation process also is quite very taxing and long. It can take anything between 1 to 5 years to reach the court, in civil matters. So small claims court fast tracks the process and assists people to arrive at the finality of the matter as quickly as possible.
Okay. Listeners at home, you can also call us on 0800 142 446 to ask any kind of questions that relate to the small claims court, because of the gentleman here is here to assist you. So please make use of this opportunity. On the line, we have Patko from Aluwal North. Good evening to you, Patko.
Muleni kunjani ba?
Siyaphila mfowethu.
Nami ngiyaphila, ngiyabulisa kutata onayo apho emoyeni. Umbuzo wami oqala uthi ulolu hlobo. Ngifuna uqonda mina ukuba ngiyecasa ubona abantu bathatha abantu babasa ku small claim court. Mina mandithi niboleke imali engaka nje 2000 rand pha kubongi. And ubongi ibi agreement yethu sobabili. Xa efika ku small claim court uthi imali yakhe ngokuse 4000 5000. Ingaba ke ngoku iresolve njani lonto leyo ngoba there was a verbal agreement between kubantu ababili. Umbuzo wami oqala lo. Umbuzo wami wesibili utata uMandla uthe awukwazi uthatha ugovernment umse ku small claim court. Ngifuna uqonda ndiqondana ndise ukuba kuba kutheni ungazukwazi uyenza lonto ngoba masithi mina ndinguphathwa. Ngifumana the information ukuthi uThabo uyenze i-corruption. Imbone nazo izinto azenzileyo. Ibiza amapolisa thathe yonke lonto leyo isiwe phanga phambili ifunyane exhibit yonke into. Ukusuka apho ugovernment apromise ukuthi no uzawuthi reinvest mina okanye uzanihlamba amehlo. Ingenzeki lonto igqithi iminyaka. Ingaba ke ngoku ngaba abantu aba batyala abantu okanye ibhanki ekumele ukuthi ithathe abantu base small claim court okanye ingaba ugovernment kungoba kuthina angasukwazi yena ukuthi asike ku small claim court. Yabulela kakhulu ngomamela kuTakalani Community Radio ngiseAlvan.
Okay, siyabonga Patko. Yes, Patko from Aluwal North. Master, may you please respond to?
Yeah, then the first question relates obviously to the evidential burden that people must prove their cases. Yes. So it goes back to what I started off by saying, those are the problems that we experience, lack of evidence. Now, if when they entered into this agreement of 2,000 rands, everything was reduced into black and white, there wouldn't be this problem of whether it was 4,000 or 2,000. Now, because there's no evidence, anyone can come to court and take a chance.
Yeah.
So it goes back to that. Now, effectively what happens here, everything is now left to the commissioner to suss out and try and extract the truth from the litigants. But he must just take solace in the fact that if there's an agreement that 2,000 rands was paid to him or was given to him and the other party is looking for 4,000, the commissioner can definitely make an order for 2,000. But the other 2,000, which will obviously make it up to 4,000, would have to be contested. So you could have a split decision, basically, going to boxing terms now, where you say, fine, I'll give you an order for this one, which is now common cause. If both parties agree that there is 2,000 rands that exchange hands, the commissioner could agree that on that 2,000 rands, there is no need for further evidence. Then we'll just deal with the balance. Let me also hasten to add, I mentioned about 15,000 rands as being the jurisdictional limit of the small claims court. People need to know that even if they are claiming 20,000 rands, they can abandon 5,000 rands to bring their claim within the jurisdiction of the small claims court. All right?
Yes. Okay. Tato from Klexdorp, good evening.
Hello.
Ogara. Dumelan tate. Legai.
Re tele bera.
Re teng.
re teng mong wa me o ka botsa potso ya gore
Ntate ke tshepo ke tsena pleasure po mo. Ntate potso ya ka ya pele ke kopa go botsa gore ana o kgona go appeal decision ya small claim court. O kgona go ya appeal. Ke buela mo ntleng ya gore gongwe o thola ile gore ha o tsena kwa le go dile ka fela teng go dile o kolota motho maybe 4,000 like a part control bon go go ta mo 4,000 ha go ta 4,000 ba kala gore mo tsena o di e nna le teng ga teng kana go so go bo go tsala gore go to patele 4,000 ka
Yeah.
at the later stage we didn't say that go ta go go nna te bu ngata a se ka gona go ta wa phise a ba go appeal se ka go bo thola back o go tsagala ja
e re go hlalosetse ntate o bua ka dintho tse pedi se sa tshwaneng o bua ka review sorry o bua ka appeal number 1 and number 2 o bua ka default judgment akere o re no see go court ba file judgment against you now batla o appeal go utlo hantle ntate
ntate ba re bole ka hate seng
akore
ka ke buele ke seng tele ya pele ke appeal ne yo ana khona go appeal
no you can't appeal a decision of the small claims court. Decision of the commissioner is final, so to give you a definite answer, you cannot appeal a decision of the small claims court. You can take it on review. All right?
Okay.
You can take it on review. Now, what is review? Review, it could be either one of three things. The first thing.
Okay, I read the radio for here. Listen from the radio. Please continue.
Review would be one of three things. Either the court did not have jurisdiction to listen to the matter,
yes,
or there has been gross irregularity. Give you an example of gross irregularity. You are not even allowed to give your own testimony in court.
yes,
Or the commissioner was biased, or there was corruption. Those are the only times when you can take the matter on review. And the review is done by the higher court.
yes.
So it means you'll need obviously an advocate and an attorney to assist you with the review. Now, he mentioned something. If utlile court, the other party is not in court and a default judgment is granted.
Yes.
Now, if a default judgment is granted and you subsequently hear about the granting of the default judgment, which means you were not in court, there is a method in the Small Claims Court Act that you can utilize to get that judgment revisited.
Okay.
That is called rescission. This is in terms of Section 36A. Okay?
Yes.
In terms of Section 36A, you can bring an application for rescission. But now rescission can only be granted by the commissioner on two grounds. Let me give you an example. I've had a number of rescission applications.
Yes.
People come and apply, and you ask them, why didn't you come to court? Because you were served with the papers telling you that on such and such a day you're supposed to come to court. But the person doesn't come to court, and he tells you that I forgot.
Okay. Bongi in Soweto. Bongi. Unjani sisi? Ankhona.
Futhi ngicela ukubuza ni ngathengela abantwana bami 4 pages kathulu.
Sisi?
Ngabathengela ikathulu sezabazinani. Bese ngimjwayele e-high court kube high court. So that lady took that 4 pages of shoes what abantwana bakhe. She has never paid me up to now.
How much was it?
It's 4.6.
4,600.
4,600, yeah.
Yeah, that falls.
And I've got witnesses lapho e-high court because we met at high court.
Yeah, that falls squarely within the jurisdiction of the Small Claims Court. So if we say Soweto kune Small Claims Court Protea, which is where I sit, and you can go there and they will assist you with completing the forms and bringing the person to the Small Claims Court.
Yes, because I don't have the address here, but I've got the messages at the phone. It promised to
But you know where she works.
She claims to driving school. I've been looking for that driving school all she doesn't have any driving.
Yeah, but what's going to be important is that you'll need to get the defendant, because the documents need to be served on the defendant. You understand, ma'am? If you can't find the person, that's a problem, because even the court cannot deal with someone who disappears. But then you have other services. On a serious note now, you have other services like tracers who can assist you with tracing the person. And you must understand that all the amounts that you pay or spend on tracing agents, you'll be able to claim back from him or her through the small claims court. You can Google, you'll find there's a whole host of tracers in Joburg especially.
What about?
Bongi, our producers have your details there. They've just told me that they are going to do some research for you and then get back to you.
Okay,
will that be helpful?
Okay, then, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bongi. That was Bongi from Soweto. 0800 142 446. 0800 142 446. Now we are going to Eastern Cape to Lebo. Lebo, Unjani?
ke na le mathata ke fetola bedi ke botsa potso se tshepa ke motshelo sa gona wa arabang ke okile ha a tshwatwa koloi ya ka ke go bontsala ke thutse koloi ya motshelo then the right hand side ya ya libidila ka ya tswa ya o tla libidila
o itshwatla yang ke accident o etsalang
ke ko tsitsaitsi.
Okay, so it's an accident.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I said la mono ha bitso mapolisa fika motshela dumela molato yena ka yenteng o vetsa nilo makolo ya ka le family ya hae ba tshwata koloi ya ka koloi nna ke so buile bona a tshwata koloi ha re hla court re tamile hla court a dumela molato yena hore o ntsenye bitse ene o tsapatana prosecutor no magistrate una le teng o tsa tsela up until today. I just saw home Muchino Rimzil Malinting, Agi Chuchi Sigota Butona, Wetalanka Muchino. I'm told that to him. This time, again, warrant of arrest for Yena, Funyano Ban. Isali up Wizo Yena. I mean, I the court was a my will like a proof of payment to it. Package, definitely sure. Yadumelo out of an Alcante, daily. Then Kimatataga, and until today. Agisof money paupatalo and remuti na sof money mari mchuchisi uruna utaf money enona dumeti mutinari ukai patala children ya kanta
mamela hentate wena o bua ka dilo tse pedi tse sa tshwaneng wena o bua la ka criminal case go criminal case una le section 300 e allow you can get payment for the damages. Now if o bua ka mchuchisi as small claims court seo wa utlwa ntate kula ke re ba as small claims court seo ba mtshwarisitse a ke re mtshwarisitse la ya go court
ya case ya kokwa a go mtshutile o nna re motho go tlapatela molato
eo ke criminal case. Small claims court, it's a civil case. A di tshwane dilo tsena wena o tla tshwanela re go small claims court ha go criminal case. Wankutlo ntate
ke mametse ntate motho all right ke le buile ntate motho
o lebogana ntate tsela tsweo.
Okay, that was Lebo from the Eastern Cape. 0800 142 446. That's our landline number where you can call us to ask any questions. Mr. Motha, it seems like the question of enough evidence is a problem, based on what the listeners have been saying.
Even from the listeners on today's show, you can hear that that's a recurring theme.
Yes.
Our people do not keep evidence. That needs to be drilled because it's very important to keep receipts, to record transactions. Without that, it becomes very important. It's very difficult to have a ruling in your favor. So my parting shot could definitely be that people must try going forward to keep as much evidence as possible of the transactions they enter into.
What measures can the citizens, take to make sure that they keep some evidence? Say it's a case where there are no slips or there's nothing tangible.
Recording, like I mentioned, you have cell phones, you have witnesses that could also be present when you're exchanging money. There's lots of way of presenting proof to court, because like I said, I'm repeating it, this is a court of law. You are working on the balance, on the preponderance of probabilities, the balance of probabilities. Now, we look at who's telling the truth, who's not telling the truth, based on what is presented to us.
Yes, Master. And one other thing, I feel like you should repeat the purpose of the small claims court, because of that also, it seems like, most people find it difficult to understand the purpose of the small claims court.
Yes, we said the small claims court, it's a court that deals with minor civil matters, but in an efficient, fast, and speedy manner. Now, it assists people who want to claim, but their claim is below the amount of 15,000 rands. Yes. And we mentioned the type of claims that can be brought in the small claims court: actions for payment of monies lent, action for delivery of movable property, actions against an occupier of property, e.g. rentals, actions arising from liquid documents like promissory or checks, promissory notes or checks, action for damages. Someone bumps into your car and the damage that is caused on your car is less than 15,000 rands. Now, you have basically section 15 giving you the type of actions that you can bring to the small claims court.
Okay.
But we've got the clerks at the small claims court offices that are there, and they're trained to assist people with lodging their claims.
Okay. On the lines we have Abednego from Freehead. Abednego. Anyaphila ba wena njani?
Siyaphila Abednego.
Ngithike baba-ke. Lapha nginenkinga mani lapha baba. Inkinga yami lapha anginikeze umuntu imali eyiboleke. Ya, kusho ukuthi uyabona-ke ngibekisele nje ukuthi nje okokuqala oba kusiyena yedwa lo muntu. Ngoba nikhuluma nje ngale small claim court. Ngingashayisa ku small claim court. Okokuqala lo muntu omunye wayikhansela lo muntu. Lo muntu wathi mayithatha le mali mase ngiya lapha e-small claim court. I-small claim court sifuna imali.
Isifuna imali?
Sifuna imali, sangifuna imali impela. Iyo lento khona bake bangena abakhuluma ngale nto leyo lapha emsakazweni. Ngafuna ukuyisho mina lapha kulo nkantolo. Ngoba ngangizokukhomba kwayena lo owapho angifuna imali.
Wakufuna malini baba?
Engifuna 750 ukuthi ngathi mina ngeyazi le mali lena wathi le 750 bazoyinikeza lo muntu ozohambisa le ncwadi ukuthi kuyotshela lo muntu ukuthi mina ngifikile ukuthi ngifuna imali yami.
Alright, mamela ke baba. Kuyenzakala ukuba ufike kwi stage sokuthi manje uhambise amasamanisi. Uyangizwa ngithi baba?
Ya, ngiyakuzwa.
Mawuhambisa amasamanisi kunendledlana eziningana ongahambisa ngawo amasamanisi. Eyokuqala indlela ungazihambisela wena. Uhambe namaphoyisa. Akusize uyihambise isamanisi kulo umuntu okoloda imali. Esibili indlela yile okhuluma ngayo. Ungasebenzisa usheriff. Na usheriff uchaji imali ba. Ungazi ke i-distance yalo muntu obufuna imali kuye ibingakanani. It's possible ukuthi ngazifike kuleyo mali leyo depending on the distance. Now
uyabona umuntu enginaye esasakhelene nabo khona la emakhaya hlala nasibonana nabo.
Yeah, angithi angazi ukuthi usheriff wakho uchacha malini. So kungenzakala ukuthi sheriff befune leyo mali leyo. Kodwa ke engikushoyo ukuthi akudingekala ukuthi uzokhipha imali wena ungazenzela. uyayizwa lento engishoyo baba?
ya ngiyakuzwa.
Yebo ke naloko bekufanele kutshelwe ube uyazikhethela ukuthi uzoyikhipha le 700 and futhi into emnandi lena ke nge-small claims court le mali oyibhadalile ku sheriff uzokwazi ukuyithola futhi makuphela icanga mangabe uyaliwina icala against lo muntu omsuwayo.
Oh.
Uyezwa ke baba? So ayicwili le mali yakho.
Iyabona kodwa lapha ngale ndlela abeka ngayo lo sisi lo wavela ngitshela nje ngathi imali vele ethathwa lo muntu vele.
Hayi angithi manje soyithole kahle ukuthi njani ihamba kanjalo ke baba.
Oh.
Yes, Abuti. Okay, that was Abednego from Freehead. Briza. Good evening to you, Briza.
Hello.
Ogara.
Yes, good evening. How are you?
I'm good. May you please proceed to ask your question?
Ritele ka ndati. Dumela ndati.
Yes, Dimela bro.
Tswela pele.
Okay. I just want to ask something. If kuna the associates like lawyers, then banally the agent, the agent, and then the agent, the lawyers have a problem, but that agent, then it's somehow intimidator, and then we are trying to phone those lawyers. Or agent yalona intimidator, and then then there is no follow up. Then whenever I report this matter, can I report it to the lawyers committee or lawyers society or in the small claims court, or what I must do?
Who is this agent? Who is he working for?
No, he's the agent of some other lawyer. So he's working somewhere. Then so he shouts us and then he intimidates us. The guys got them licensed firearm. Then
Mamela Hendad. Unalia criminal. You have criminal law that we can explore in as far as that is concerned. It means you can lay the criminal charges. One good like that. You go police station and say this person is intimidating me, or this person who produces the firearms. So you can lay the charges, go criminal court. I mean, yes, go criminal or go police station, and the person will be brought before the criminal courts.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, no, thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Briza. That was unfortunately our last caller because of now it's 7:03 and we are about to tail our show. Mr. Motha, what are your closing remarks?
My closing remarks are our people must always keep evidence. 2, our people must try to not resort to self-help.
Yes.
By taking the law into their own hands. They must utilize the services of the small claims court. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Motha. And there you have it. We have come to the end of our show. We hope that you enjoyed our show on small claims court. And please tune in next time to hear what we will be talking about. And if you need more information, you can go to the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development website, www.justice.gov.za. Good night to you.